What's up, YouTube? In a previous video I showed how to check to tell if you have a bad bearing, a bad wheel hub assembly. In this video I'm gonna replace it, and for starters, got the wheel off and I gotta remove the caliper and the caliper bracket, and I also have to take the rotor off. And this rotor should be easy, it's already loose. So caliper bracket and rotor, and then I'll have the hub exposed. Now once I remove everything up front and I'm in the back of it, I got to remove this bolt, one right next to it, and the one at the bottom here, and the other one right next to it. So 4 bolts that hold the hub assembly in. Now, a trick that I show in other videos, if you don't have a tool that that you could use to compress the caliper piston back in, you get a screwdriver. And what I did with this one, I removed the upper bolt, so you see it's loose up here, and that's a 14 millimeter. I left the bottom one in, and I'm just going to get my screwdriver in here at an angle, try to get it between the veins of the rotor, and I'm just gonna pry towards me. And once I do that, see, I got all that room now. So when I take the caliper off, then I don't have to worry about compressing it to put it back in. As long as you don't go inside and hit the brake, you'll be fine. Got my caliper out of the way. Now I gotta remove these clips, well, these springs. There's one up top, and these just help to keep the brake pads away from the rotor while you drive. When you hit the brake and you release, those springs kind of keep them away from the rotor. There are a lot of cars that does not have them. So in case you lose them or something, it's really not a big deal. Now I go ahead and I remove the bracket. Okay, another tip that I'm going to give right now. A lot of people I see, they work on their cars and they have their steering wheel straight. It's good to leave it straight when you jack your vehicle up. Put your jack stands under it. But if you're going to do brakes or any front end work where you have to take off the caliper or the rotor or whatever, you could actually, right now my wheel is straight, so you see the space I have here to work with. It's not really much space. If I lift the arm here of my breaker bar, it's hitting the bottom of the vehicle. Then you have to tuck your head inside and try to figure out what's going on. Now if I turn my wheel, I have a lot more room. So now I turn my steering wheel and I have a lot more room here to work with. I don't have to stick my head in as far. And remember, this was hitting the bottom of the car. Now I could go all the way up with it, and I have all that leverage to crack whatever bolt loose or tighten whatever I have to tighten, or get the proper torque on it and stuff like that. So just a quick tip. I see too many people spend a lot of extra time working on their cars and not realize all you have to do is just, instead of straight, just turn your wheel and you have all this space to work with. And it's a 19 mil for the caliper bracket. I'll try with my breaker bar first. Maybe I need a bigger breaker bar, but I'll try with my trusty impact gun. See, a lot more room. So now everything is off, and if I did not turn my wheel, I would not be able to get this gun in there. Now this is the best angle I could get, and remember I told you about the 4 bolts that hold the hub assembly on. So I'm just gonna get to those. And I'm not going to take it out all the way. I'm going to leave them in like maybe halfway and just try to spray it down with some rust penetrant. Hit it with a hammer, maybe a 5-pound hammer, and see if I could at least get it loose. If I get it loose, then I go ahead and finish taking them out. And actually it really doesn't matter. I just like to leave the part in a little bit so I could make sure it's gonna move before I take the bolt out. But you could remove it completely and then hit on the front here to try and loose it up. So now I'm gonna hit it with a hammer a few times, and I'm not hitting the studs, I'm just hitting this piece. So and I'll go ahead and remove the bolts. Now I got the bolts loose. And there we go. Got that out. Now before I remove it completely, what I forgot to mention in the beginning was make sure you disconnect the ABS wire. The new hub assembly came with the sensor and the wire, so all I have to do is disconnect the wire. But if yours does not come with the sensor, you have to reuse your old sensor. So make sure that should be actually the first thing you do before you even remove your caliper, is disconnect the sensor. So right behind here is where my sensor is. Unplug that. Now as you can see, I put some anti-seize on it, and I already went ahead and matched up the new part, compared it with the old part. Everything matched up perfectly. Now it's just to put everything back together. Just gotta get my connector. Make sure I put my connector in. Slide the wire through. Slide in like so. And it's all done. Everything is buttoned back up, and the torque on the bolts They're roughly around 50 foot-pounds, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on it. Do your own research. If you're going to do this, do your own research and make sure you get the correct torque spec, but I believe that's what it is. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.